just did it one day. Which when I was training in Pittsburgh, and I just brought him here. So.
Can you take us through your workout routine through the season?
Through the season?
Yeah.
You want to know my workout routine?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just do a lot of work. You know, obviously, the days I'm able to get a lot of extra work in, I'm in there with love. Working certain things, you know, I like to look good. So certain things I feel like he's getting a little mushy. Make sure I keep it feeling the right way. So.
How many of your teammates join
Through
you?
the machines.
Some guys join, not consistent, but you got guys like a Jonah that stay with me and pretty much do everything. So some guys come, some guys don't. So.
You just rotate through the machines.
No, it depends. It might be a chest day, arm day, core day. It depends how I'm feeling. So.
Aaron, what are your memories of playing against the Bengals in the Super Bowl?
We won. That's what I remember. We won.
But any particular plays stand out for you, or
4-for-1.
yeah?
To find a way to win the game, we won. So that's the one that stick out, obviously, because that was the last play for us. So
What was going through your mind at that point?
find a way to make a play. You know, don't let them get this first down, and if we do that, we win the game, and we did that. So.
When you look at this Bengals team, do you see like a lot of similarities from their blocking schemes to how they approach the attack things on offense?
Obviously, what was that 2-3 years ago? So obviously, you're gonna see similar things, but different things too. Obviously, they got a great quarterback, some great weapons on the outside, a good running back. So anytime you got skilled guys like that, make your job hard. So we just gotta play our game and trying to find ways to be consistent and find a way to win. So.
The last time you were on the A field with the Bengals was memorable for other reasons. Do you think there will be any carryover from that incident during the practice, or
Our main focus is trying to find a way to win a game. It ain't about going out there trying to fight, physically fight, but with my pads we can do some fighting. But I'm just trying to play a game. I ain't trying to do nothing dirty. I'm just here to trying to do my job and win a game. That's it.
2 games in, how much growth have you seen out of Kobe Turner? Would you say that already development-wise he's already ahead of where he needs to be?
He's a smart guy. He understands football, understand what he need to do. So when he's out there, you're comfortable knowing he's gonna know everything. At times, he helped me get set where I need to be. So having a guy like that you can trust like that, and obviously, he's been making some plays out there, looking good in the rush game at times. So we got to just keep working. Obviously, none of us is there yet, but we looking good. You know, I feel like we looking good. We got them flashes where we look like the type of defense we want to be. It's just about being more consistent and trying to play mistake-free football. So.
You mentioned that right a minute ago. Joe Burrow's status being uncertain. Do you guys expect to see more of the rushing attack from them? What are you seeing from games before?
It's a good run. I expect him to play. I know he's a tough guy. So my mindset is he's going to be out there healthy and playing how he need to play. So our job is to go through this game plan, obviously practice it, get used to it, feel comfortable with it, understand what we need to do, and then execute it come Monday. So.
And then just to follow up, just what have you seen from their run game specifically?
I think they just got a good back, obviously. He's able to do a lot of good things. If that's creasing you, cutbacks, you know, he can get square and break a long run on you. So he's a good back that you got to respect, and I do respect, and we got to try to find a way to slow him down. So.
it hasn't happened often in your career, but that last game against the 49ers, no tackles, no assists, no hits on the quarterback. Were you, when you finish a game like that, do you look at the stat sheet? Are you aware of that? And if so, what, if any, feeling do you have about that?
Well, I'm playing the game, so you kind of know you ain't getting nothing. It's just boring, obviously. It's boring, but you just keep playing, and hopefully your plays come. But, it is what it is. You just got to keep playing and trying to find ways to get in your plays, and when the plays present themselves, take advantage of it and make something happen out of it. So it's a part of football, so you can't.
Do you think part of that is, and we've talked about this earlier in the season, that so much attention is being placed on you? You know, is that part of it? And do you feel like you can still have an impact on the game even if you're not necessarily showing up in the stat sheet?
Yeah, you can still be effective. Obviously, you know, if you getting attention, you getting 2-3 guys on you, that give opportunities for other guys to come free at times. So they're gonna make the plays if I ain't making it. That's why it ain't just me out there. It's 10 other guys that you got to trust that's gonna make plays. And if it's not my day, it ain't my day. You know, just got to make it up the next week. So.
Ernest grow into his new responsibilities, you know, green dot captain?
He's been great, you know, leadership role. You know, obviously, you know, where he been since he been here. I think Ernest is going to be a star in this league. You know, he got all the abilities, all the even he bulked up a little bit. So he's been flying around. His leadership role is what you want out of a Mike linebacker, out of a guy that's, you know, calling all the plays from all that. So he just got to keep working, you know. But he's been doing great so far. So.
Last one. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but are you feeling teams, and especially in the run game, are you feeling them try to test you guys on the edges a little bit, some of the outside runs the last couple of weeks, and then do you expect that to continue? What do you see there?
I mean, you see that, but again, you know, you got to trust that the guys that you on the field was going to do what they need to do to slow that down and make their plays. So you expect, obviously, with teams had success on against us, teams to try to do the same. So just got to be prepared for that. So, yeah.
All set.
Thanks, Gary. Don't tape that, guys. That is not on the record. Hey, this is the second bet I've lost to a media outlet. It's 5. You said 5. Anyway, sorry, guys. You lost me the bet. Of all people.
When a game's over and Aaron Donald has no tackles or no assists, and I know stats. I know you're feeling on stats, but when you see that sheet, does that surprise you? And does that necessarily mean he didn't have an effect on the game?
So I never look at the sheet, so I wouldn't know. I didn't know that. Did he have a tackle last game? So I didn't even know that until now. But when I watched the game, I watched it as far as how did he affect the game. He draws the slides, he draws the attention, he sets people up in those ways. And then it's how much did you do your job? And then I do know when he has play-ups and they jump out. So we didn't have the playoffs that we won that last game, obviously. So that's a great job, and kudos to what the 49ers did to him. But that also opens up doorways for other people to make plays. So, like, it never really jumps off the sheet that way. I never really look at the sheet like that. I really, truly believe stats are for losers, but not in that mentality. But how he affects the game, how he played, how hard he played, all those things that I can judge. And those are things I really look at, that I really covet. Did he have a chance to affect the quarterback? How many one-on-ones did he get? Did he win those one-on-ones? Things of that nature. And they do a great job knowing us so well of trying to eliminate some of those exposures that you have them, Aaron, that could be disastrous. And it was a hard-fought game, and that definitely wasn't the thing that I took out of that game. I took out of that game that we consistently are getting better. We have an opportunity to be really good with some of the young guys that we have. I walked out of that game knowing, those are the games you want to be in with those type of players, with those type of guys. And that's really what I took out of that perspective. I didn't even look at it as from a selfish standpoint. Obviously, players do. They have to because of guys like Gary, but they have to.
How much growth have you seen out of Kobe Turner in these 2 games? And would you say that he's already mature for a rookie?
That is, he was mature when he got here. He's kind of a little bit different when it comes to that. Super smart, super intelligent. Not that most of the guys are not, but he's able to apply it on the field with the intelligence. It's a big difference, being in the classroom, being super smart, being able to apply it, and being able to utilize it on the field. He's able to utilize those things. He's able to take command with his voice at times. I actually was just picking on him right now in a walkthrough about that, but it's super cool for us and his coach. You got to give Eric Henderson and AC, those guys, a lot of credit for getting him ready and caught up to speed as quickly as able to go out there and perform some of the things that Greg Gaines did for us so well over the last couple of years, and Sebastian and some of the other guys that's played here. But he's been able to jump right into that role, do a lot of really good things from a base standpoint, from a nickel standpoint, all across the board, to be able to play opposite of AD and do some of those things that are really special, and is actually, added to some of his production as well because of that. And it's only going to get better for him, as it will for Aaron, because of how well he's playing.
How have you?
You're always after the lady stop.
Having somebody who understands the technical things that you guys are trying to do up front, what freedom, flexibility does that maintain in the second and third level in terms of some of the coverage structures you want to do when you have a guy like Kobe who comes in and he understands some of the technical elements of what you want to do different?
It's really different for a rookie. To add to that first, usually you're thinking about a rookie, you never really know about this interior alignment until you get into those real games. It starts in the preseason, starts in the regular season games. But having a guy that kind of understands what you're trying to do on the back end and both at the second level and third level, to be honest with you, nothing really would shock me what he knows. But it's really special because he knows what the look's supposed to look like, what's going on behind him, without having to turn around and see it. When the picture changes in front of him, he knows how the picture changes behind him. And all those things are really important. Warren Sapp was one of the smartest interior D linemen that I've ever been around in life, on just his ability to know things almost to a fault of his teammates, because he can actually call out a play or know who had to fit and ask in the most sarcastic way ever. Where Kobe, he knows what's going on enough to get up and know who to celebrate with and some of those type of things, and be the best version of himself on the grass. And it is pretty unique and pretty special from the guys that I've been around playing up there in front. Because stuff happens so fast, as you know, Jordan.
Ernest on Sunday was talking about how he's still kind of growing as far as like his pre-snap communication, and sometimes looking at one side of the field but not looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, we teach tip to tip. Go ahead, finish your question. I'm sorry, I was about to cut you off.
What's that growth process like for someone who's taken on that level of responsibility?
It's really, starting to open your eyes and go tip to tip of the formation to see what's going on, to see the big picture. And I think We call him looks to own, and he's really done a great job of taking his looks to own for the most part. There's always ones you miss. There's always ones you want back. Then it'd be like a play call for me. I want the 51-yard run, play call back, right? Can't have it back. So if you can have a chance to have better factor ops, and your factor ops are increasingly growing up where you're 8 out of 10 and you're 6 out of 10, you get those things increasingly going until you make those plays and all those factor ops because you're able to look tip to tip and know what plays you're supposed to make or give the proper alerts on the grass. I think that is groundbreaking. He is so much fun to talk to because of the amount of information he can grasp in his head and deliver to the guys. I find myself talking to him, if not more than I did with Bobby, the same amount. But because he can take it and give it to whoever he needs to give it to and do it at a really elite level and fast level, despite what he may believe. And then that's just the constant growth. He's our quarterback, right? So Matthew Stafford, I'm sure, had a growing thoughts throughout his career, these 27 years he's played. And I'm sure Ernest will get better and better as he goes, and it's been a great look for us. It's a great look for the Rams, a great look for our whole organization, just the leader, because, I can remember sitting in this room talking to some people in this room about how he's going to be the green dot. And I remember I got the question, what does the green dot mean for the fans who don't know? And he is the definition of what a green dot player looks like and what you want from him.
Raheem, going back to Aaron Donald for just a second, when he's...
I pass this guy in the lunchroom every day. He can ask me any question he wants to be. Waste to get in here. What a respectful young man. Go ahead, Stu.
Throw him under the bus like that. When he's getting as much attention as he does, do you see him lead or teach guys any differently as far as what he wants to see from them and how he wants pass rush or anything else?
He's a quiet leader, and he speaks up more within his own confine of his room. He actually can't wait to break up to get to the individual setting, to go in there and to get Henderson and Joe and all these coaches that talk about the protection plan and what's it set up for and who's set up to get the one-on-ones for and things of that nature and trying to get those things. But, all of those things said, you can do whatever you want. Offense is going to focus and try to get four hands on them at all times. And some of the times that's great, Aaron. You go ahead and waste yourself on that play, but you never say he can waste himself because even when they try sometimes, he beats slides. He outruns a back. He beats the chip and runs through that person, or he just physically beats a human. So all of those things happen. But when he gets in his own individual room and he knows exactly what's happening, and he goes in and sits with Coach Henderson, and they close their door and they go in that room and they go over the game plan and the details of what he needs, he's able to get it to his guys that he needs to get to in his own quiet kind of way. He's more similar to Derek Brooks in that way from what I've been around, the quiet leader who can talk to anybody on the one-on-one settings and to get all the things he needs to get done for his meetings. But he's just fun to be around, and I can't wait to see him keep going and with this young group. And that was his metric. Right when we started this thing over, he wanted to get guys that are hungry and that wanted to play and love football, and that's all he cares about.
I wanted to ask you the question from a defensive lens. When an offense runs motion, any type, as many as we've seen over the last several years, what can it tell the quarterback about the defense?
They are undressing people for man zone IDs. As you know, we're a zone line defense, so it's not really that, but they address demeanors. These quarterbacks now are excellent, and I'm fortunate enough to be around one of the game's best here, and I'm able to ask him questions after competitive periods, like, what did you see? And he's able to articulate those things so well, and the different levels of backers, the corner's demeanor, the nickel, your right corner's not showing it the same way this guy's showing it, so I knew he was faking. And it allows you to coach those guys in that way. And I can't say enough about your position coaches being all over that. When you're talking about Aubrey Pleasant and some of the looks and Chris Beek and what they're able to do and how they communicate with their guys in order to sell it, because our quarterback is so good and our quarterback is so experienced. So now when you get some of these younger guys that are going through those growing pains that we talked about of a Kobe, you can expose some different people. But make no mistake about it, the coaches in this league, the players in this league do a really good job of trying to hide and dictate the terms of those things. But it is really cool to watch those guys do those things, and really cool to have a guy like Matt Stafford here to be able to help us with those things in the offseason and when we have our Mamba periods.
All set?
All right, guys.
Go ahead.
You weren't here, Kyron was drafted, but what did you hear from the coaches that were about kind of the work he put in during the injury last year to kind of stay on?
Yeah, really hard worker, better dude. Just yeah, obviously I wasn't part of drafting Kyron, but going through the draft process, and evaluating as many people as you do, I knew a lot about Kyron and had a lot of respect for his game at Notre Dame. Everyone always said really good things about him, but until you get around someone, you don't totally know. And being around him right away, you knew how much this game means to him, how hard he's willing to work. He wants to be really, really good, and he puts in the work to get there.
4 out of 77 snaps on Sunday, like just over the course of the rest of the 16 weeks. Do you think that's a sustainable?
Yeah, that'd probably break a record, I would assume, at the running back position. I know back in the day they maybe just sent one guy out there for the most part unless he needed a spell, but it'll work itself out. Obviously he was out there quite a bit. Kind of got a little skewed there at the end, just being in that fourth quarter. Once it was basically tied up or close to tied up all game, and the next thing you know, it was a 10-point game at the snap of the fingers, and we ended up getting like 30 plays or something really fast, in the fourth quarter. So that kind of added up, but I think it'll work itself out.
What does he kind of do that stands out in your mind that makes him?
Well, and I think I've said this about a lot of guys and maybe about him before too, but he gets the game. He just understands it from both aspects. His vision in the run game, really an understanding of what the intent of the play is, what the intent of the offensive line and their responsibilities are, and the same goes for in protection. Has a really good feel for timing and routes and all that. So it's just kind of he's got kind of a complete feel for the game, and then when you're willing to put in the work and you're already talented, that's what it shows. I don't think he's scratched the surface yet of what he's going to be capable of doing. I know he knows that. It's just the start for him. But again, you can say that about a kid like Kyron because he's just going to keep on going and keep on working.
You know that Matthew has really been impressive and he's feeling great and everything, but when you go back after games and you watch the tape, is he the kind of player where you also see what you can build off of things he's already doing well because he's such a veteran and having so much success out of what you guys are currently doing?
Basically take advantage of how talented he is, yes. No, but in all seriousness, there's yes, but I don't think, obviously Sean's been with him for 2 years and Zach Robinson and all these guys for the most part, from afar, always watched him. We always thought he was going to be a great player for this system, whatever this system means anymore. But just with some of the play pass and stuff like that, and then obviously being able to be with him since we've been here in January, and then be able to, nothing's been surprising. It was just, hey, if he was going to feel healthy or not, and you'll have to ask him. I know he's been pretty forward about it, but I know he feels healthy. I know he looks healthy, and I know he's having fun out there. And like you're asking, you can always build off it, but I don't think we ever put a ceiling on what we thought we can do with Matt or what we think we can do with Matthew.
And then you just alluded to this, but like years prior, this was such a under center play action team,
Sure.
and it's evolved over time, and especially after 2021. And I know you've been working a lot with that as well. But when you have a quarterback who's dropping back, when you can use some of the gun run stuff, some of the motions. Again, what layers come from that? What permutations can occur doing things out of that alignment when previously it was sort of like...
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's just, obviously when you're in third down and in obvious pass situations, you're mostly in the gun. So being able to just have a variety as opposed to just dropping back and maybe, mixing in one run here and there. I think that was something that, Sean wanted to add to this offense, and I think us as a staff have, put together a menu to allow that to happen and, make it so it's not, hey, Matthew's back there, it's going to be drop back, and the defense is pinning their ears back. So, it's just the start of things. We're only 2 weeks in, obviously, trying to always cover our bases in terms of making sure the defense is off balance, whether we're under center or in the gun, and marrying stuff up together. None of that philosophy is ever going to change, whether we're under center or in the gun.
In terms of watching other quarterbacks from afar, I know you're scheming against their defense, but what do you see in Joe Burrow when he's right that makes it tough?
Yeah, he's fun to watch. Again, I've never, I can't say I've ever totally studied him. when we were in San Francisco, we weren't drafting the quarterback, so it's not like I put a ton of time into that class. But just, being a fan of football and seeing him on crossover tape and stuff like that, he's an ultra competitor. You can see that, and you can see how much just grit and toughness this guy has. And when you get that from your quarterback position, what we're living through right now, just that toughness, it's contagious for the rest of the group, and guys are going to battle for him. On top of him being obviously a talented player, there's a reason he was the pick he was. A lot of respect for his game, and you want these guys to be healthy. So you wish that he can be at his best, and being in the NFL, you want to compete against the best, and he's one of the best.
The same thing when you look at guys like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, that you become a fan of their game, especially you having a wide receiver background.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different story now. I mean, those guys, I did study both those guys coming out. That they're incredible. They're incredible for different reasons. What Jamar did that year at LSU was, I described him as Andre Johnson playing in college. I mean, that's how big and strong and fast and physical and just how much of a playmaker he was. And then T. Higgins, when you read about his background, he was such a good basketball player. And sometimes that's almost kind of a negative people put on him in terms, or just players in general. Hey, they kind of have that basketball player type. You watch about 10 or 15 plays of his, at Clemson, and you realize he can play above the rim, and that's what you mean by basketball player. But he totally gets the game. He's tough at the catch point, and those two are about as good as they get in this league. A lot of respect for both of them.
Two-part question, if that's okay. How would you describe Ryan Lindell?
Windy. How much time you got? I'll probably get just a real cerebral guy. You can see his center background coming from arguably one of the best offensive line coaches, in my opinion. I never worked with him, but the best offensive line coach in Dante Scarnecchia. And, there's a reason that Coach Scarnecchia had such, good things to say about him. And so you can see all that stuff that carried over. But he's always just kind of shuts his eyes when you're talking to him, and he's just playing out the play or whatever he's thinking, and you can see it all going, and he just gets it from everyone's vantage point. And that's what he tries to teach the offensive line. You can't just see it from your lens. You got to see it from all five guys' lens and from an offense what the intent is. And I think that's something that he's done a really good job of just getting these guys to understand, what we're trying to get done. Great guy.
And just to follow up on that, what does he sound like when he coaches?
Oh, gosh. I'm not down there as much as you think because I'm over with the quarterbacks.
Things like that. And, he's in that cluster with the
Yeah, he's just like as you kind of see him walking around in his personality. I mean, he's I don't want to say stoic because that's not the right word, but he's processing everything and then getting the information out. I think one of the things that really stuck out to me with him in his interview process and getting to know him is he's not trying to coach the right guard the same way as the left guard. Yes, there has to be, unison in what you're trying to get done, but he's very in tune to different body types and, how people move. And that's a sign of a good coach. It's very individualized. But yet, how can it all piece together to make sure that those five work in cohesion? And it's something that, I noticed right away with him and Sean and all of us, but you can see it coming to life for sure.
This is on Cincinnati this week and Indianapolis next week, but how much do you start thinking ahead to how to use Puka and Tutu once Cooper is back?
Not much because you're just so focused on what we're trying to get done right now. I had no idea we were playing Indy next week, so that's good because Cincinnati and Lou and that defense gives us enough problems, So you're trying not to get too far ahead. Schematically, sometimes you can say, hey, once we've done this, we're going to do this, and so probably maybe in a week or two, if it works against the defense, maybe this can go off of it, But not too much. Things can change so quickly, right? I mean, we all saw what happened on the first Monday night game. Or Thursday, whatever night that was, in New York, and things change quickly. And so you can't really be thinking too much about that because our offense might look completely different in a week. I hope it doesn't, but I've been a part of it where it does. We all have. So we just got to kind of take it 1 week at a time. Good. Thanks, guys.